Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I think, yeah, this is too much, I think.
There you go.
So how are y'all doing? Good? Good? No?
We're seeing the lights. We're
That's
doing
good.
great.
That's good. Okay. So good night, everybody. Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I know it's like 7 p.m., but okay. So tonight we're going to talk about web APIs you probably didn't know existed, right? So before we start, this is a very important question just so I know you. So how many of you are familiar with Angular? Just raise your hands. Okay. React, please. Okay. Polymer? Anybody? Okay. Ember? Okay. So this talk is about none of those things. We're going to talk about vanilla JavaScript, okay? Vanilla JavaScript.
Yeah.
And just new APIs in the browser. Some you may heard of, and others you didn't. So let's see. So how many of you were working in the web around 2008? Please raise your hands. Anybody working with Flash at that time? So for those of you, you probably heard about this guy in 2008. HTML5, the first specification was like the first draft was launched in 2008. Then everybody got super excited about HTML5, right? It was like the best thing ever. In 2009, Ian Higson, the guy that was writing the spec, gave an interview. And he basically said like, oh, HTML5 won't be ready until 2022. And then everybody freaked out. Like you show me this super amazing technology, and now you're telling me that it's not going to be ready until 2022. That's insane. Everybody got crazy. But okay, that's fine. Like in 2010, there was this like big thing for the Flash community. I was working with Flash at that time, and there was this open letter by Steve Jobs, which pretty much said that, okay, we're not going to run HTML5 on, we're not going to run Flash on iOS devices. And that was like super big, you know, like it was pretty much the beginning of the end for Flash. And 2011, HTML5 got this super nice logo, you know, like this is like, it's a superhero. Like HTML5 was the solution for everything. And you know, when things start to get popular, people start to say bad things about it. So for example, in 2012, there was this, Mark Zuckerberg pretty much said, our biggest mistake was betting too much on HTML5. And it was very like intense, you know, like people were starting to doubt HTML5. Maybe it was not the superhero that everybody was talking about. Maybe this was just like one other thing. But you know, the market kept going. The browser started to support more and more HTML5 features. 2013, games started to be built on HTML5. Ads that before were only built with Flash started to be built with HTML5. And in 2014, HTML5 became a W3C recommendation. That's pretty much the last step of all the steps that a W3C recommendation, a W3C spec goes through. And it was ready, you know. HTML5 is ready. It's here. It's supported. Now what? You know, okay, HTML5 is ready. What now? You know, like there was lots of things that happened since 2014. Lots of frameworks, all those frameworks that I told you. But now what? What's next for the web? And you probably heard about those things like SVG, Canvas, local storage, WebRTC, geolocation, drag and drop, all those new things that you couldn't do before, and now you can, and that's amazing, that's great. Like for each one of those, it's like a talk by itself. But today we're gonna talk about some other APIs. And I'm gonna start by talking about the page visibility. So this one, it's basically a way for you to tell if your browser, your user, is on that particular tab or not. So the way you do this, and now I'm gonna just show a little bit of code, is you check an event listener. If the visibility changed, this is how you do before. Like you have this document.hidden, and then you can check if a certain tab is hidden or focused. That's pretty much it. You can just check what's going on. This spec is going through some changes, and basically because there's some things going on the platform right now where you can load a certain page before it was rendered, so you can like do a prefetch, a pre-render, and now with this API you can actually check if a page was pre-rendered before or it's hidden or visible. So just getting more supported, more features on that. And the browser support for this API is pretty cool, but where to use it? Where can I use this thing? You know, what is the purpose of all that? And this is just one example. So imagine you have a video, and then on this video, you can show like how many seconds or something. And then you go to another tab, and then you pause. And then you go to another one, starts up again. So that's pretty much the way this API works. And it sounds a little bit silly, like why you would do that. But that's actually pretty cool. Last week I was in Spain and I was doing a workshop on this. And then I created this app which you would, so people are like super big soccer fans over there. And there was like this whole championship going on. And then people would watch the game at work. So I was like, okay, let's create an app that will hide the game when your boss comes. So you're watching the game, and then you're there, and then you see your boss coming, and then you just open another tab, changes the fave icon to like the Google spreadsheet, and then changes the title to like Q1 financial statement, and then no big deal, you know? So you can do things like this, or you can imagine you have a game on your page. When the user goes to another tab, you can pause the audio of the game. That's a very common use case. Like nobody likes to keep like looking for the tabs to find where this sound is coming from. The other one that is pretty cool is the online state. So this one is a way for you as a developer to check the status of the network. So there are a few things you can do with that. One is just a simple Boolean check. Is the user online or is the user offline? So that's pretty nice. You can listen to two events. One is an online, offline event, and then you do something about it. The browser support is pretty good. You can use it today. And there's another spec coming up that will make this much better and much more powerful. You can check. This one is not supported yet, but just so you know, like you can check if the user is on 3G or Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and you can give different experiences to the user. So imagine you are building one of those sites that they have like this video on the background, on the header, you know, like you probably saw one of those, like there's a video going on. So if you are on 3G, that's very expensive for the user to load that. It's not a good experience. So maybe you can detect if the user is on a desktop browser, on a Wi-Fi, you show the video. If he's not, you show just an image, a background image. So there's some things you can do. This is one example. This is like another app that I created. It's almost like a tweet deck for GitHub. So I want to track like certain repos and certain people. So this one, what I'm going to do is just turn off the Wi-Fi, and then I can show some feedback to the user. And then if I turn the, oops, let's do it again. Because this app is very real-time based, it's very important that I fetch all the information in real time. It's important that I show to the user when nothing's going on. So when I turn on the Wi-Fi again, then we can show some other message. And then just let the user know that they are online, and now you can fetch things that you couldn't see before. So you probably saw this on Slack. This is one example. Slack uses that. For chat apps, this is very common. Like if you're building something that is real time, this is a very important API to think about it. The other one is vibration. So this one, like you know that on the web or on your phone, in your computer, you have some kinds of, like there are a few feedbacks that you can give to the user. One is a visual feedback. You put like a banner, you show something, this is a visual. You can like play some sound, But there's nothing until like now that we have like phones everywhere that is like a tactical like feedback to the user. So this is one way that you can do. There's this API in the browser that you can just tell your phone to vibrate. And of course, this doesn't work on desktops because it will be weird, right? So you can tell like, okay, vibrate, and this is like in milliseconds, so you pass like 1,000 milliseconds to vibrate for 1 second. Or you can even do like patterns of vibration. So if you don't pass just like a number, you pass an array of things. Basically, the way it works is you can vibrate for a certain period of time, then you wait for another one, then you vibrate for another one, and then you wait. And if you want to turn off, this is how you do it. But as you can imagine, there's some pretty crazy things you can do with this one. And some people did. They recreated the Super Mario theme using the Star Wars theme, Go Power Rangers. It's very interesting to run this code on your phone. Unfortunately, I can't show right now, but it's very interesting. The browser support is getting there. It's not that good, but it's getting there. But the good thing is, if you want to implement today, even though if it doesn't work on a certain phone or a certain vendor, that's fine, because what you're doing is just like another feedback on top of what you already do. So for example, I don't know if you remember this game, but I used to play it a lot. I think it was like Windows 95. But it's just like this game, and when you hit the tree, your phone vibrates. And it seems like, and this is like running on Chrome, and this seems like a very silly thing, you know, but the whole experience changed when I was like playing, and then boom, you know, I hit something. So it's just another kind of feedback. This one is also very interesting. Like imagine you have like a form, any form like login, whatever, and then you are like validating that form. What you usually do is like you display something on that form, but maybe besides this error message that you're going to show anyways, what if you like vibrate for like 100 milliseconds? So just to give like the user something else, you know? So those are like small things that you can do in your application, and it will change the whole experience for sure. There are other things you can do, like device orientation. This one is not that new, but there are different ways that people are coming up nowadays to use it. So the whole idea is that you can access the physical orientation of a certain device. So let's say you want to listen to the device orientation event, and then on the callback, you have basically 3 properties: gamma, beta, and alpha, okay? And then you can do things based on that. And on this example, let me show the example before. It's probably faster. So let's say you have, let me pick up my phone. So this API detects how I move my phone, right? So I don't know if you're gonna be able to see over there, but maybe, yeah. But like I have an image on my phone and I can rotate it. And then based on the physical orientation of my phone, and I can simulate over here. So I have this image. And then what is cool about Chrome DevTools is that you can come here to more tools, and then you go to sensors. Yes. And then you can actually, not here, this one. And then you can go here. Let's move this thing up here. Yes. Okay. So check this out. You can actually change, like move your phone on Chrome DevTools, like to simulate, so you don't have to use your phone all the time. So like some API that you can like check the device orientation. The browser support is pretty good. You can use it today. And again, like, okay, rotating Trump's face is nice, it's cool, but what else can we do? So one example is, so this is not a web technology, this is just like a 360 image on Facebook. that was built with Swift or Java on Android. But you could simulate that same feeling. You have an image, and based on the orientation of the phone, you can show like a 360 image. Or a very good example that I have seen before was like you have this parallax, which is super nice when you scroll down, but also when you scroll, like when you move your phone, it changes the direction of the parallax. Just some ideas so you can see like some benefits on that. Clipboard. So this one is for the Flash guys as well. So before in the web, the only way that you could get like what is on the user clipboard, or if you want to copy to clipboard, was by using Flash. And that's pretty much the whole idea of this API. You just copy something to the clipboard. And like the library to use was this Zero Clipboard. They had like this SWF file that you would copy, because this is like a very important thing in terms of security, right? You don't want people to know what is in your clipboard, and you don't want people to like, imagine you go to a page and then they inject something in your clipboard, you know? So that's not nice. And there is a way to do that on the web nowadays. But you have to do two things. So this gets a little bit complicated, but it's fine. Like imagine you have a button in your page, and then what you need in terms of due to security reasons is that you always need like a user interaction, a real one. You cannot simulate an event or anything like that. So you have an event listener for click, and then you do two things, okay? You select and you copy. Let's see how that works. So on the web, you can actually select. You know when you get your mouse and you select some text? You can do that programmatically using this API. So you select something programmatically, and then you run this other command, which pretty much copies what is selected. That's the whole idea of copying to the clipboard using web technologies nowadays. There are some other events that you can listen to, like when there's a copy or when there's a cut or a paste, but those are still not very well supported. The good news is that all of those, like those other ones that I showed, works in all browsers. That's pretty cool. And where to use it, this one is one example, very common, like on GitHub. On GitHub, let's say you want to clone a repo. So you go there, you click over here, you copy to the clipboard. You know, that's the whole idea. And then the user has that, they can like git clone or whatever. Another example is like, this is the documentation of Twitter Bootstrap, the 4th version. And then you can copy some code to the clipboard. So this one actually uses this super nice library called CLIPBOARD.js, which I'm not gonna say who created, but it was like, great guy. This other one is the ambient light. So the whole idea is that I can access the light of the ambient, like the light of this place right now, and do something with that. And the way it works, again, you listen to one event. This one is called device light. And then they return this value on the callback. And this is like a lux value. I even had to like research about it. I didn't know that there was a metric for measuring the amount of light, but there is. And then you can have that. So for this one, so Jacob told that the last time I was here in js.la, we did something with the light. We're gonna do it again, but now with a different demo, and I hope you don't get scared. I know like this sounds like a very, let me just check. This sounds like a very friendly ghost, but when you turn off the lights,
I will kill you.
Okay. And then when you turn, I know, it was very creepy. And it was even creepier for me to like research for the audio for this. Like I was like, okay, which one is the most scary thing? But yeah, you can like actually listen to the event of the whole light. And the browser support for that is not as good. And basically the way it works is that like on the webcam, there's the sensor. So if I put my finger in front of it, it will like, okay, no light, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the browser support is not good only on Firefox, and there's a reason for that. This is because, like, again, security issues, like people knowing if you have lights or not, they could do like crazy things with that. There's a new API coming to the browser called generic sensor. So basically what they're doing is standardizing geolocation and also ambient light in another API. So this is going to be nice when it lands. And the idea of this new API is like you have a new constructor, you start, and then when you have an on-change event, you can read to how many lights there is on a place. And probably when you start, it's going to like display one of those banners saying, hey, do you want to like allow this page to access your ambient light? And then you do or not. Okay, but where to use it? Again, this sounds super crazy. I would never use on my page. Actually, maybe you want. Like, you know when you are like in your office and then you like, okay, I'm leaving for lunch. And then like you can really see nothing in your cell phone because of like the brightness of your cell phone. Well, maybe you could use this API to detect, okay, now I have much more light coming in, and then I can change the contrast of my page. So that's one use case. Or imagine you go to bed and then you're like using some application, like imagine you're using Gmail, okay? And then you go to bed, I'm like, okay. And then you turn your phone, there's like this thing, and okay. Imagine if Gmail would detect, okay, I have not so many lights coming. Do you want me to switch to a dark theme? And then you have like a dark theme, and then, so that'll be super nice, super cool user experience. There are other ones like battery status. So this one lets you access the battery of a certain device. And the way it works, the API is a little bit different. It's newer, so they are using like a promise-like. So you basically request the battery, and then of the promise, you can get the level of the battery. And then you can also check for certain events like, oh, is my battery level changed? Or am I connected or disconnected to the battery? All those things are accessible. This is the browser support for that. And where to use it? Do you guys remember Pokemon Go? I know nobody plays anymore, but imagine you were like playing Pokemon Go, and then you could like let the user know like, oh, your battery is dying in like 10 minutes. You have 10 minutes to catch another Pokemon. Or imagine you're filling out one of those forms for immigration, I don't know, and like super big form, lots of different fields to fill. And then you can detect if the user has like low battery, and then save all the fields on local storage. So if when the user, like the device turns off and turns on again after like they recharge, you can actually pull those information from like a cookie or local storage, and you fill those fields again. Imagine how nice that will be for the user. Those are like little things that I'm just like giving you some ideas, but you can go crazy with that. Web VR. So this is something that is coming to the web, and basically the idea is that like the same way you have like Oculus Rift, Google Cardboard, you can have VR on the web, not only in like a built-in device. The browser support is also, it's getting there. And basically the way it works is like you can have a VR experience on your phone. There's really no way to demo this unless I had something, but yeah, that's how it works. The other one is WebAssembly. So the whole idea of WebAssembly is that you can do things that would be super hard to do it with like plain JavaScript. So imagine like 3D games, things that are very computer heavy, depends a lot on your like CPU and your memory. This one is under development, but it's very promising. Like you can run games like this. So like the quality like is very like impressive, and like this is one other example. Like I don't know if it looks that good, but like the performance is very nice when you're playing on the browser. Like and you can actually build very like substantial applications using Unity or those kinds of things. The last one is the GamePad API. So this is a way for you to access a game controller via USB. So the way this API works is different from the other ones because you have an event that is this GamePad connected. You know, you plug your GamePad, that's it, you get this event. And then you can check, okay, what are the GamePads that I have? Because I could plug my Xbox controller or my PlayStation controller or whatever the controller is. And then you can check, okay, let me get the first or the second GamePad that was connected. And then finally, you have access to the things you want from that GamePad, like the access or the buttons. But since you never know how a GamePad is, how many controllers it has, or how many axes or whatever, you need to use request animation frame in order to detect what is going on. So if you ever built games before with HTML5, you probably heard about this guy. And that's basically like the easiest way to explain. It's almost like a set interval that is very fast, very optimized. But it's much more than that, but that's an easy way of explaining. And then you have like this game loop where you can check, okay, this button was pressed or not. So let's check if this works or not. So I have here a Nintendo controller, okay? So let's see if this is gonna work. So let me just check over here. So if I connect this over here, oh no, it didn't work. Let me just try to turn it on. Let's see if it's gonna work now. No, it didn't. But basically, what it will do is just like a console.log on this page, showing my GamePad. And the idea is that you can do things like this. So this is like a Nintendo emulator that I'm building with just JavaScript and Electron. And I actually use React on this just to play with it. And the whole idea was like that you could play a game using this GamePad. So let's try once again. I don't think it's gonna work, but let's try. No. Yeah, but the idea is that you could control with your GamePad. Now, what is nice about this is that like this API is getting better in the sense of like supporting new controllers like the Oculus Rift and things like that. So I think soon we're gonna be having like very crazy experiences on the web, or at least a way to do this, and then crazy people that want to implement that. And my whole point of this talk is like the web is just magic, you know? There's so many nice things going on the web, and I just wanted to encourage you to like just experiment with those new things. And my last talk, and there's so many things on the web going on besides that. You have like web components, HTML imports, like lots of different specs around this. You have like progressive web apps, service workers, background sync, payment requests. This one is pretty cool. You can actually request payments with like a JavaScript API. That's pretty insane. And like my last talk was in October 2014. And I remember it was such a crazy moment in my life. I was still living in Brazil. I got here. And I remember I traveled from like northeast of Brazil to LA. I was working at this company that I still work. And then I think I submitted the talk. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to submit and see what happens. And then those guys accepted. I don't know why. But I was super happy. And today I'm here again with the same motivation. I actually came even further away. I drove from San Bernardino here. Crazy drive.
So brave.
But I'm super happy to be here. I hope you guys could learn something or at least get inspired to do something cool. And thank you.
Amazing.